Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you this unique way of teaching the elements and principles of art by creating an intuitive interpersonal art chart. This is a very thoughtful, introspective way of using and learning the elements of art. I was inspired to teach this lesson when I went to a conference by Ken Byth, and he is the author of Engaging the Adolescent Mind, in which I inspired my lesson through. So let's get started on this lesson. The first thing you'll need to do is some thinking about yourself. Look up some lists of adjectives that describe people and write down 6 words that best fit you. You want to be honest, the best artworks are going to come from within. For the next step, list the elements you are going to use in your chart. I am going to use all 6: line, space, shape, color value, texture, and form. So I'm going to need 7 equal cell blocks across the top of my paper. You are going to need a piece of watercolor paper. I have a piece of Canson 140-pound paper that is cut to 21 by 14 inches. And a nice pencil with a sharp tip, a ruler. And you are going to use all kinds of different mediums for this as you go. So that's something that you're going to determine as you work. Let's get started on making our chart. Each block is going to be 2 inches by 3 inches. So we are going to start by going across our paper, and we're going to mark off every 3 inches exactly. And make sure you go all the way across and you go on the bottom and mark off the top and the bottom. And then go ahead and strike your line. I'm going to finish this up and I'll be right back with you. Now that you have all of your vertical lines, you're going to go and measure your horizontal lines. And you are going to mark off every 2 inches for your vertical. So mark precisely on both sides, every 2-inch mark. And both sides always, so you can get a straight line. And one thing is, if you do not have a ruler that is 24 inches long, what you can do is come in and mark off again. You want to be less than 18 inches if you've got an 18-inch ruler. And you're just going to mark again every 2 inches, just so that you have another mark when you rule your line that you can line it up with. Then push your ruler over to complete that line and get it straight. I'm going to finish this up and I'll be right back with you. Now that I have my chart made, the first thing we're going to do is take the elements of art and we're going to go across the top. So my line, space, shape, color, and I do like to put texture on the end and put form here. So however you want to do it. Line, space, shape, color, form, texture. Over here, this is where you're going to put your name. These are where you're writing your personality traits going down, and you're going to write your elements going across. And this is what your chart will look like when you have everything mapped out. The first block on the upper left is for your name, or you can reserve that anonymous, however you want to do it. And then you're going to put the elements going across the top. I like to put texture on the end just because there's a lot of different things and you might want to have that on the end. It's up to you. And your personality traits will go down the side of the left. And then you're just going to start. This project requires a lot of thought. And one thing I tell my students is when I'm assessing this is they should be able to tell me why they made each mark and color. This entire piece should have meaning. Now basically it's up to you and how you are going to interpret each of these. Any medium can be used, especially when you get into texture. I've had people use aluminum foil. I've had people use broken up pencils, which isn't the best thing to use, but I've also had people use glue and ribbons and things, anything that kind of goes with whatever personality trait. You are thinking, now, what is my personality trait and what does an energetic line look like? What does an energetic space look like? What does a creative line look like? What does a reflective color look like? And this is what you are doing throughout your whole chart. One thing I like to do when you are adding the elements and the words on your chart is make sure that everything is artistic. All of your fonts are artistic on both sides of the chart, as well as everything inside of it. Some choose to stick with more traditional mediums where they are not as textured, or they're not as messy, or they stick to just the pure lines. So however you want to do it, however you want to teach it, you just get some incredible results from these things. My students really got so into this that they wanted to put color behind most of their things. And I allowed that because I think it's such a great art piece that I just told them to make sure that their lines stand out the most. Like, so whatever your considerate line looks like, whatever your empathetic line looks like. This is also a really great way to explore and mix different mediums. Once you've finished up with your personality chart, you can start the next process. This is a really cool way of doing a personal project. This is called a personal symbol. So I haven't finished my chart quite yet, but to make your personal symbol, you are going to get a smaller piece of paper. You're going to need a piece of paper that's cut either 5x7 or 4x6, just a small piece of watercolor paper. Now, what you're going to be doing is picking your elements, and you're going to take them out of your chart and create your own personal symbol. So this is one I created, and I did this out of a 5x7 card. And you can kind of see with this one, you can see exactly what I took. I took the thoughtful space. I took the energetic line. I also took the forthright line. I took the forthright shape. And I also added some of the colors in here. Make sure that you're doing you're blowing up exactly what you had on your chart onto your piece. And these become their own little artworks. These are really cool to hang up with your names. And one other piece that I really love with this is the timeline. For the personal timeline, I'll give you another video on how to do this, but it does kind of spawn off of all of that you learned from your personality chart. And this is a wonderful next step to what you can do to reflect about yourself and have a really personal work of art from it. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from this video. I'll see you next time.